Today is going to mark the very first upgrade with the cheapest Traxxas Stampede project. So thus far, the only thing we've done is install the high-speed optional gearing, which comes with the ready-to-run Stampede. Aside from that, it is bone stock. Now, the very first upgrade I'm going to throw on is this right here. We're going to be changing out the wheels and tires, guys. In the last video especially, it kind of exposed the weakness of these tires. These tires had a very difficult time getting traction in the grass when the grass was a little damp. So we're swapping to something different. And this is actually a pair of wheels and tires I had sitting around. Some of you have been watching the channel for quite a while know that about a year ago, I was running this on my Traxxas Max V1, but I didn't like the lack of cushioning. They just don't have enough cushioning for bashing on the Max, but this isn't gonna be as big of a sender as the Max. It's not gonna jump as high. It probably doesn't need as much cushioning. That's why I think it would work perfect for this machine, because this is also a 2.8 inch tire. These are the Proline Badland MX 28, so 28 for 2.8 inch. As you can see, this is also mounted on Traxxas Max wheels. So the only issue is the Traxxas Stampede has got 12mm wheel hexes. So I actually had to go out and buy some 17mm wheel adapters so we can adapt those hexes over to 17mm so we can actually run this wheel. So let me go ahead and reposition the camera and we'll jump right in this install. The other thing I wanted to show you real quick, I never actually showed you guys the wheel hex adapters we're going with. I bought these ones right here very cheap on Amazon. I will actually leave them linked in the description down below. I don't know what the brand is. I'll have to look it up, and like I said, I'll leave it linked down below. But these are 17mm wheel hex adapters, and I think this was like $10 maybe, $10, $12 tops for all of them. So way cheaper than a lot of the name brands. And it had pretty good reviews too. We're just gonna go ahead, get these stock wheels and tires off. That is a 7mm nut that holds it on. This I think came with one of my Armas, but it's got a 7mm on it. Otherwise, just use the wheel wrench that came with your Stampede. Go ahead and loosen that up. All right, pull the wheel off. So let's open this up. Should be pretty self-explanatory. This piece right here goes over the 12mm hex, and then this screws in place and screws over the threads of the stub axle and locks it in place. Then you use this nut right here. This is actually the 17mm nut that's going to tighten the new wheel down. So let's do that real quick. Should be pretty easy. Just slide this right over the 12mm like that, and then grab this right here. Now I did bring some thread locker with me because that's metal threading onto metal. So I'm just going to put a dab of thread lock and get that tightened on. Appears that is a, I think that's a 7mm too. No, that's an 8mm it looks like. This one that came provided, yep. That's an 8mm. Get that tightened into place. And if you want to get super tight, you can go ahead, use some pliers and actually hold the hex in place and then tighten that down a little bit more. There, that is on nice and tight, as you can see. That's a very, very easy install. And now we can go ahead and install the new wheel and tire. It's just gonna go do these fit? Doesn't seem to want to slide on. Oh, or is it? Oh, maybe since these are Traxxas ones, you know what I probably need to do, guys? I probably need to cut all this out. That didn't even occur to me. Since these are Traxxas specific hexes, in order to run a regular hex like this, you'd actually have to like either Dremel this out or trim this out, these little extra bits. So I did not think about that when I bought this. So I'm gonna have to probably most likely Dremel that out, all of those on each one of these wheels. So I'm gonna have to go home and we'll resume the video when I get back home. By the way, if you are enjoying this whole cheapest Traxxas Stampede project, make sure to show your support by hitting that like button, also subscribing and hitting that bell so you'll be notified when I come out with future videos, because this build's just getting started. Alrighty guys, I am back home. Unfortunately, my Dremel was not fully charged, so I'm gonna have to do this old-fashioned way by just cutting these little spline pieces out. Because as you can see, the Traxxas hexes, it's a great design, but it only works with Traxxas hexes, and I did not even think about that when I bought these. And the Traxxas hexes are quite a bit more expensive than these. So if I'm gonna run these ones, I'm gonna have to cut out each one of these little splines that sticks out so it'll actually fit over these hexes. It's not gonna be easy. Hopefully you guys can see all right. Yeah, it might be difficult to do it this way. A lot of times videos don't come to fruition the way that I had hoped or anticipated. But I think anybody that makes YouTube videos kind of knows that same feeling that, you know, stuff just doesn't go as planned a lot. I got some of it cut out, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to actually slip it on. Let's see. And really, I'll just show you one because the rest I can just do off camera. Let's see what fit on now. Still won't fit on, so we need to trim more off of these. Just not easy with these cutters. Might just have to wait for that Dremel to charge up, and then I'll show you one of them on camera what I have to do. So that's why the Traxxas Max wheels probably are not the best fit on the Stampede, at least not when using these cheap hexes. So if you want to run 17mm Traxxas specific wheels, you're going to want to spend the, you know, the extra money to get a hold of the actual Traxxas hexes that have this exact same spline design. So I'm not that worried about once I cut these out about the wheel hex spinning, because this isn't that powerful a machine, especially with this brush system. Now, if or when we decide to go brushless, then we might have issues stripping it out, but the good thing is it is a 17mm hex, so that should be harder to spin out than a 12. So I'm gonna resume video once my Dremel's up and going. Hopefully you guys are seeing this all right. So far, I got one of the hexes pretty well Dremeled out. Unfortunately, the bit that I'm using is kind of clawing up the bottom, but I think it's gonna be all right. Let's see if it fits on there now. Hopefully I took off enough. Yes, it does. It fits now, and that's gonna look good. Wait. Uh-oh. Is that as far on as it goes? We don't have any threads. This is an issue I did not anticipate. We have no threads showing. So this is as many threads as there is right here. And once this wheel goes on, none of them are showing. Please tell me I didn't do all that for nothing. Fortunately, I was able to get it threaded on a little bit, so my hope is that I can just cinch that down and that'll stay in place. But I'll definitely have to use some thread lock on this because this nut's not even going to be all the way on, because this barely fits. I did not take into account how thick this wheel is. There's just not that much threads to show, which is kind of annoying, but I barely got it threaded on right now. I'm gonna try to tighten it down. What do you think? That looks pretty awesome, does it not? That looks really good. You should absolutely rip. So let me do the other ones, the Dremeling and everything off camera, get them fitted on, and cross my fingers I can get all 4 of them to work. So I'll be back with you guys once I get that all completed. Alrighty guys, I'm back with a little update. I was able to get the rear ones on. Fortunately, I was able to use some thread lock, and these wheel nuts aren't threaded all the way on, but there are a few turns on, probably like 3 or 4 turns, so I'm confident they'll stay on. I just wanted to show you the stance real quick, because as you can see from the top view, because of running these wheels and the actual 17mm adapters, it kicks the wheels out quite a bit further. So we're probably gained, I don't know, between 1/4 and 1/2 inch on each side. I'm interested to know it should be about the same on the front, but these are actually also a slightly larger tire than the stock ones as well. I'm looking forward to ripping with this. So I just need to get the front ones Dremeled, the 17mm hexes, and then we'll be done. These are probably heavier. I can tell they have more weight than these tires do, and they're not quite as cushy, but that's part of the reason why I took them off my Max. But I'll resume video when I get done doing the other 2 and throw the front ones on. Boom, guys, check it out. It is finished, and it looks absolutely awesome. It looks so cool. It looks so sinister with these wheels and tires on it, all blacked out. I do think we're much more likely to break something now, because I did point out in the last video, these plastic links, those look weak. They did not break bashing, but that's on the stock tires. I can tell you there's much more weight to these tires than these stock ones. So more weight, meaning more likely to break stuff. Also, the tie rods themselves look pretty weak and flimsy, so I expect we're going to start breaking stuff, but you know what that means? That just means more upgrades. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Here's what she looks like from the top view. Has a very, very wide stance now. I'm liking that. I really like this tread pattern. It's super aggressive, and it just looks super awesome on this machine. Make sure to go ahead, like, subscribe, also share, and make sure to stay tuned for the next video where we're going to be testing these out. So, thanks for watching. See you later.